happy to see us. As a matter of fact, I think they were extra happy because before we were there, the COVID restrictions were even more restrictive. And I'm just gonna, I mean, I could tell you road stories, and back in the old days, yeah.
Tell us a couple,
we could
come
get away
on.
with murder. I mean, we got away with doing really stupid stuff. The only reason we could is because we would pay for it if you trash something, or you drive a car out the window or something. And then
Now what? Drive a car out the window? What's that? Did that happen? Can you tell us the details?
It'll be in my book.
It was the days before YouTube and cell phones as well.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Absolutely.
It didn't happen.
Things were a lot looser. We live in a world, and I'm going to take my music hat off and put on I guess my government hat for the moment. And although anything that I say, I'm not representing the U.S. government, so everything that I say is from my personal experience and my personal opinion. I just have to do the caveat. So now things are very different. As Tony mentioned, we are now in the midst of a very strange epidemic, which as soon as something like this happens, every government on the planet tightens up, and everybody starts to get weird. And now we're also in the midst of one of a worldwide international terrorist problem. So governments are now very, very careful and very, very wary of everything. So I'll just give you a couple of, I would say, bits of advice on when you travel abroad. The first thing that you do is you go to the State Department webpage. You go up to the upper right-hand corner where it says STEP, S-T-E-P. You register with the State Department. You tell them where you're going, where you're going to stay, give them all the information, because if something does happen, and if you're a U.S. citizen, and I believe Canadian citizens can do this with their consulate and different national folks who are citizens of different countries. But you go to this page and you register, so there is a record if something were to happen. Number two. Interesting.
So that's statedepartment.gov?
Yeah, statedepartment.gov. You just go up to the upper right-hand corner, it says STEP. So the next thing you need to understand is, I believe many people have most of their private life on their cell phones. They do banking, they do a number of different things, so you have a tremendous amount of personal data on your cell phone. Virtually every country that you visit will download all the information from your cell phone as soon as you get to customs. Some countries are more aggressive than other ones, but just understand that if you bring your personal cell phone, that's probably what will happen.
But you don't know it.
You won't know it. No, you won't. And even if your phone is off, doesn't make any difference. I'm not going to get into the technical side of it. So the other thing that you would do is you would leave your phone at home, go to Walmart or Target, buy a burner phone, only put in the information that is absolutely necessary, certain numbers that you have, probably leave your destination information, your travel information off the phone, carry that in a little piece of paper in your pocket, and understand that you will be either more or less under constant surveillance when you are overseas. Now there are places that are pretty loose. There are other places that aren't. Now I suppose I could sit here and give you a tutorial on how to sweep your hotel room.
Just looking back to 1985 with the firm of Jimmy Pace, Paul Rogers, we had our own plane. We had limousines, we had all the best hotels. I thought that life was going to be like that forever. I've made it, and this mic is cutting in and out, but anyway. Okay. So I thought that was going to be my life from there. And then, of course, you've seen so many changes from there, doing the tour buses, I actually started in 1982 in a 12-passenger van. And of course, I was the youngest one, so I was in the back. So it's the bumpiest, right? And then fast forward to 2018, all the different touring and things you've done, the tour buses, planes and all that. 2018, I was over in Europe doing my own thing. I was back in the 12-passenger van again. This time I was in the front seat though, because it was my van. So, but you see it all, but to go about touring, to to talk about that, to bring it back to that, the wonderful thing is that artists want and need to play, right? It's the completion of the creative cycle. We create something, we record it, we release it, and then we want to play. And the wonderful thing is, with all the changes of technology and all the things that have changed, the audience still wants to see a great band. And so that opportunity is still there. And Europe, I mean, all things aside that Jeff said, is still a great market for live music. People treat music differently. I was over there in 2013 or so with Kenny Wayne Shepherd. I was sitting on the tour bus outside the venue, and people would walk by the venue and they would look at all the billboards and all the posters and see who's playing there. They're into it. They really want to see what's happening. And I heard from the drummer with Kenny Wayne Shepherd that when Stevie Ray Vaughan went out first in the early 80s, first tour, they lost money. The second tour, they lost money. Third tour, they broke even. Fourth tour, they started to make money. And it's the way that it built. It kept building from there. And they put on a great show. They tell their fans, they tell their friends, and they bring in more people. Even if you don't have a label or if you don't have songs released, as long as you have an online presence and you tour and put on a good show, it's possible to build it. It is. They still want to see good music out there. So, you know, we shouldn't be discouraged by what's going on out there, but we do have to be aware, as Jeff was saying, and all the other things. Look on the websites and see what's going on, the CDC and all the different resources. That's the nice thing. So much is available, but don't be discouraged by all this because it's still out there and people want to see live music.
And by the way, Tony brings up a good point. I just want to make sure most people want to go to a show and enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
It's the governments of the places that you go that are doing all this stuff. The people, the citizens, they don't, for the most part, don't even know. They just want to hear you play, enjoy the music, and so this is not meant to be a reflection on any audience that would come and see you. I'm sure you have some perspective about what overseas touring is like from a manager's point of view.
Well, now, it's not COVID related, but it's Brexit related. I don't know if you've encountered this, but
Oh, I have some stories on that.
I'm hearing stories that if you rent a van or a truck or whatever in the UK, and it takes you to Hamburg, the van has to go back to England. It can only stop in one place.
Wow.
So, you know, you can't do that when you're on tour. So you got to know that going in, or you're going to be stuck. And then, of course, in England, you can hire what you want. And there's also like 15-hour waits to go from France to England in the Channel, I guess. 15-hour wait for all the paperwork and so on and so forth. So Brexit kind of screwed things over from what I can see. I don't know what the benefits were. And I guess the paperwork's enormous because the Euro countries are pissed off at the UK. So if you want a UK and you want to do things, they make it as difficult as possible, from what I'm told. So, you know, it's not just COVID, it's just other things going on that can screw things up. But in another subject, listening to the guys talk about being on the road, I realized that I, over time, have managed some really boring bands. Oingo Boingo, I was out on the road with Oingo Boingo not long after I was touring with Rod Stewart. That was a party band every night. That it would boggle the mind. I'll tell you, he may deny it, but Rod would start the party in somebody's room. When he decided to go to bed a few hours later, he'd go to his room and call down and complain about the noise at the party down there. So I learned that one. So yeah, no, and the big thing with Boingo after was to go to Danny's room and watch old movies. I came from Rod Stewart and the Faces to old movies as a little strange, but so and the Bangles didn't have any parties, so it was. You don't have any parties. Have a party.
No, that's all you need to do.
Very sage advice. Well, unfortunately, the panel has come to an end, but we would like to thank Warren Media and Marketing for putting this together with myself, Family Beautiful, Susan Short. Thank our guest, Jeff "Skunk" Baxter. Make sure to pick up Speed of Heat, his latest album that just dropped. Listen to it on Spotify. Follow us on all the social media platforms. Tony will be playing tonight here at the Hilton, well, at the Hilton right there at 9 p.m. So make sure to come down and check that out. Fretless Monster, all his socials, and thank you guys for coming to this Tech Tracks panel on international touring, and thank you, Mike Gormley, for your sage advice on everything.
And thank you, Susan.
You're welcome.
Susan Short.